Hi everyone, it's Joanne here from Apple Tree Studio, and previously I shared with you how to paint 3 watercolour and charcoal pears. So I thought I'd take this a little bit further and we'd play around with some charcoal and watercolour again. Now if you don't like the charcoal, some people don't, then you can still do this tutorial. But if you're feeling brave and want to try something new, then grab some charcoal with your watercolours, because we're going to be painting some lovely birch trees in a little winter scene and the pathway just guiding its way through. It's a very simple composition, but I think it really illustrates what the charcoal and watercolour combination can do for you. As I've said previously, it adds a bit of punch to your work, and I know from experience that some of my students are really fearful of putting in those final punchy darks, and it can be quite daunting, whereas with this method, the punchy darks are already in there, and once you glide a watercolour wash over it, it just sits beautifully into the paper. It creates lovely texture as well, so what is not to like? So, are you ready? Go grab your watercolours and your charcoal and let's paint. As always, let's go through the materials I'm going to be using for this tutorial. I've got a piece of Bockingford watercolour paper, and I've put these 2 lines down the side here because I fancy with this one a nice long composition. Big jug of clean water, kitchen roll just off camera, there's my spray bottle just off camera, and I'm using 3 colours. Size 8 brush, by the way. The 3 colours I'm going to be using are 3 primaries. I'm massive on 3 primaries, as well you know. Quinacridone and Gold, Phthalo Blue and the Rose Madder Lake. And of course, you can change that to any red, any yellow or any blue of your choice. Just in the corner here, I've got what is remaining of my charcoal pencil. You can see it's well loved. I need to order some more. I'm down to this little piece now. So it's a piece of charcoal pencil, and here I've got a couple of sticks of willow charcoal. It's not the compressed charcoal, I find that too hard. This is the willow. It breaks very easily as well. It's crumbly, it's a little bit messy on those hands, but it's just a lovely product. So we've gone through the materials. Now let's think about the composition. Let's use our pencil to make a start on that. So I'd like to suggest some kind of path. So maybe we've got a little pathway that's kind of coming out, something like that. Let's going back into that distance. Let's put a tree in that's the farthest away. So we're going for these lovely birch trees. So I'm going to just draw that in with my pencil, my charcoal pencil. That's one. Let's make this one a little bit bigger now. And don't keep to straight lines, you know, make them a little bit wibbly, wobbly, wonky. I like that. And I'm going to put a big one here now. Let's really pull this one in. Oh, that is wibbly wobbly, isn't it? Getting smaller as it goes up. Something like that. There we go. And that's that pathway again here. So we'll put some little marks here just to suggest some grassy areas as well. I'd like some kind of horizon line or a darker mark here where I'm going to suggest maybe some more trees and grasses. And let's continue that line maybe and bring this up here like that. There we go. Don't forget, by the way, if you've made a mistake with this, you can always use an eraser to rub out any marks that you might want to get rid of, like here's a little bit clumsy. So, you know, it does come off with an eraser. I'm going to put that down now because I want to go into the willow charcoal itself. And I want to put in some little descriptive marks, really. So let's put in some shapes like this. Look, some nice cylindrical shapes that kind of suggest the form of that tree. So it's darker on that left hand side. We're going to have the light coming from this direction here. Let's pull that across. Nice, there we go. So that's one of the trees in. Let's put this one in now. Sometimes it is easier, by the way, to just turn your paper the opposite way round and then put in these shapes. There's two. I might have some little smaller branches, just breaking that shape a little bit. And this one now, this lovely big one. Let's really be quite strong and dominant with our mark making here. Pushing that charcoal into that watercolour paper. Some nice, lovely shapes. I'm going to blend that a little bit with my finger as well. Of course, you could do this with the charcoal pencil as well. You know, you don't have to use a piece of willow charcoal because it can be a little bit tricky, can't it? But I like that kind of soft mark making that it makes, so I'm quite happy to use it. Just tidying up a little bit. And while that is, you know, still progressing, let's put some darker marks here. So this lovely area where I said I wanted some nice darks, and I can use that charcoal on its own now, just on its side. Just push that up and blend it in with my finger and try and keep that light hand side of the tree. Again, it's much easier to turn your picture around. Let's come in here. Put some more darks in, and again just pulling them up, letting them soften into that watercolour paper, picking up the grain. And a little bit more on this side. I don't think it needs too much more now. I don't want to overpower the drawing. I don't want to put too much in. There's a few more little marks here to suggest that lovely pathway. I'll just shake off the little crumbs there. Now, I'm going to stop at that point. I'm going to get my putty rubber out and I'm going to lift just a few little shapes out before we start to put some washes on. I just lifted a little bit away here from the tree where I thought it was a little bit too dark. So I've just lifted a little bit away with the putty rubber here. And you can see I'm not going to get totally back to white paper, but that doesn't matter. I want us to have fun with this one. Let's not get stressed at all. Let's put some nice colours into the tree. Let's take a little bit of that phthalo blue and a little bit of the red. And a touch of the yellow. There, look. And let's pop in a bit of colour. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow here, maybe a blob here, maybe a bit there. Clean my brush. Maybe some blues would be nice as well. Some nice subtle blue. And a touch of warmth, I think. Now these washes are only very light. They're hardly there at all. I mean, they'll dry a lot lighter than that. Should we do another one? Let's do the baby one. I'm trying not to disturb the charcoal too much, by the way. I'm not rubbing it. I'm just placing those washes on top. I'll put a bit more here as well. A few little reds into that one. Not too much. A tiny touch of blue, but I don't want to lose all the lights. And we'll do this one. A little bit of yellow here, here. Oh, why not? And a little bit of the red. Oh, they're already looking scrummy, aren't they? So we've got those lovely, delicious light colours on there. Let's put in the pathway. Let's put some yellow in there. So that lovely quinacridone and gold. Let's pull that in. Take it up that tree shape as well. So you can see what happens if you rub too much. You disturb the charcoal, and I want to disturb it, but not too much at this point. Let's put a bit of that red in that path as well. Let's flick a bit in, look, just tapping it in. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's not get stressed. A bit of the blue would be nice as well, wouldn't it? Maybe some blues. Oh, doesn't that make the most delicious purple? I'd like some more red into that one. Maybe some more yellows. Oops, that was possibly a little too dark. In fact, I'm going to push some of that yellow up into that section now. While I've still got it on there, look. Pushing that up. Just take a bit more because I was a bit heavy-handed there, look, so I'm going to share the love. Just adding more water, letting that run down. There we go, letting it all kind of fuse together on the paper. Still putting that yellow in. You can see I'm not being very careful at all here, really, am I? I'm just trying to avoid the trees if I can. Let's put some more reds into that wash. Let's put a bit of that red up here. Why not? There's no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting these colours, by the way. I'm just putting them where I think I'd like to see them. Maybe some more reds up here would be nice. Go on, we'll run a bit of red in there as well. It's just a lovely way to paint, isn't it? When you're just throwing washes onto a piece of paper and letting them do their own thing. I'm going to give this a spray now. I usually wait till it's a little bit drier than this, but let's just see. Oof, there we go. Very nice. So I'm going to let this one completely dry. Mine's nice and dry now, and I've changed my water as well. It was looking a bit murky, so I've changed that. Should we have some fun in that background? This is the bit I'm really excited about, because this charcoal, doesn't half look messy at the moment, doesn't it? It looks a bit scruffy. But believe you me, once we put the washes on, it just kind of blends nicely into it. Gives it this kind of gritty edge, which I really like. So let's turn it upside down, because that is going to be so much easier. And I'm going to start to put some washes in now. Let's start with the yellow first. Let's come in with a bit of the yellow. So I'm going to pop in that yellow here. And don't forget, I'm painting around these trees. So try and go around your trees. And I'm going to do 2 sections at once, by the way. It just gets too messy otherwise. Ooh, maybe a smidge of red into that as well would be nice, wouldn't it? Can you see how kind of gritty that's looking now? Let's put in some of that lovely dark blue here as well. Just popping that in, letting it run. Let's go back in with some yellow. Again, you know, you can do whatever you like in this area. You may decide to change the colours. You may decide to have more reds than yellows, or more blues. It's completely up to you. A bit more of the yellow, I think, into this section. I want to come here and make this a little bit cooler on this side, I think, just to kind of suggest a little bit of distance. So just a touch of that yellow into that. But I'm mindful that I've got a red here and a yellow, so I do have to kind of be continuous with that. I don't want it to look odd. I'm going to come in now with some of that lovely blue. Let's really make this side quite cool. Just finding little bits that I've missed there. And my board is on an angle, so gravity does help, doesn't it? It helps to pull that wash down. Ooh. Very nice colour combinations there, look. I love the grittiness of it. I love the way that it's kind of created a little bit of texture into that as well. I want to draw into it with the charcoal a bit later on, but for now, I'm going to take my brush. I know it's still a little bit wet. Just put some thinner, darker lines into that wash. Maybe it's a little bit wet yet. They're starting to disappear. So I might wait till it's just a little bit dry before I do that. But let's give it a spritz. Oh. Let's turn it this way. Look at that for a dramatic background. What is not to love? It's just got some lovely textures here. The spraying into that has given it a bit of a sparkle. The colour choices I've used work quite well as well, but you know, other colours may work better, but I'm liking it at the moment. I'm liking the way how it looks. I want us to draw into that in a little bit, when it's completely dry, obviously. Just a bit of touching up that I missed. Obviously, I want to try and keep those lovely lights on the side of the tray. I think we need some shadow work into this as well. Let's take our blue. So let's think about shadows from the trees. So with the lights coming this way, so let's maybe pull some shadow work across here and into that section, softening it away with my brush. Maybe this beautiful tree here has a shadow that's kind of coming across like that. Maybe this beautiful tree has a shadow that's coming across, something like that. What about a shadow that comes across all the way, kind of falls onto that path area? Oh, you could even do a little bit of splattering there. That's something I like to do. And I'm going to put some of the blue just behind this tree as well and suggest a shadow. Maybe one of these shadows comes across like that and then goes back up into that space. So before I do any more, let's let this completely dry. Once it's completely dry, you can leave it as it is or get some more charcoal and do a bit more drawing into it. I think I'd like a few suggestions of trees in the background, so I'm going to come in here and just put a few shapes like that just might resemble other trees. I'm not going to keep the whites on those, obviously. They're just going to be nice dark values. Maybe another baby one here. And oh, I could keep going forever. I'm very mindful I don't want to overwork, but I do feel just a few touches make that a little bit wider, I think. Of course, you could always use your pencil, couldn't you? Your charcoal pencil. just have a baby one there, look. Yeah, it just adds another dimension, doesn't it, really? Just a little bit more of a suggestion. And of course you can do a bit of tidying up as well, so you can go back into your drawing and create some more shapes. Oh, you could put in some little stones perhaps. Maybe the light's catching some stones and some of these little objects here. Or could be little kind of pebbles and stones in that foreground. Just finding little random shapes. Oh, don't want to overdo it too much. I'd like a little bit more of a grassy shape here. And of course, if you want to, you could come in with more washes. I'd like to just strengthen the yellow on this side, I think. Just a little bit more. There we go, on that side. And I'm going to balance it on the other side now. Just to suggest those grasses are coming in around those trees. Oh, one last splatter, do you think? I can't resist. Yeah, go on then. Let's do that. Let's take the blue. Maybe a bit of red into it because it does make an extraordinarily beautiful purple. And let's just tap in with our brush, look. There we go. Give it a little tap. Then add some water to that tap just to break that down as well. And when I say watercolour should be fun, this is exactly what I mean. You know, enjoying the process. Right, I'm going to put my brush down. That was fun, wasn't it? Have a go. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing it with you. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.